Hi folks, welcome back to another video here on G4G, Games for Gamers. I'm your host, Hulkbuster. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's Napalm Dawn, and we're here taking a look at the Spec Ops that is currently available in Marvel Avengers Alliance, which is the Avengers 2 Spec Ops. Today's background music is brought to you by Time Cop 1983 Journeys. Sort of an 80s theme album. So, you get a gold for watching this exclusive clip of the Avengers. You get it the one time. And let's start by taking a look at what we have in the store over here. Now, always remember that on a Spec Ops day, you sort of have a double-edged sword when it comes to your spinner. If you log in before the Spec Ops, you waste a chance to get an ISO bucket, but if on the way in for the Spec Ops, you get the spinner and you get an ISO bucket, the ISO bucket goes into space because you haven't engaged the Spec Ops yet, so you cannot accrue ISO. So make sure you also do that with your gifts and everything. Get in, start the Spec Ops, then start doing your gifts. So as you can see, there is the Hulkbuster armor and Prince Pants Hulk. And we're going to do more on that. And today's daily mission is a pretty good selection of weapons from the shield armory. I happened to pick up Mechanical Mjolnir today, which is really cool, or Mechanical Mew Mew, if you want to quote the girl from Thor 2. So we have the 64 gold weapon, which has a huge offensive PvP bonus. It is part of the Legionnaire set. Gains a bonus when equipped with other Legionnaire set pieces. It hits all enemies for really low damage. It is electric and tech, so that means it could go good with the PvP weapon from the last PvP. Storm, Thor, Victor, you know, any of the electric related people. Fixer will bump this up with tech and everything. Preemptive attack has a chance to perform a preemptive counter when attacked. If that hits the entire team as the counter, that could probably be why the damage is a little low. With another set piece, attack actions gain shocking. All enemies get one stack of radiation exposure. The ISOs from the last Spec Ops are available for 30 gold a pop. We have the Caffeinated, which is from Molly Hayes. This is a particularly good ISO, however, I never actually saw it fire off, at least in terms of when I would face Molly on D. My own Molly would never have any use for this when paired with Haith, because Haith allowed her to not sleep. She couldn't, like, re-taunt always. It would force another round of that, but she could still do another action. But this is probably a solid ISO. The finishing one, Punisher gains an extra turn while below 30% health. I don't think anybody should really spend money on this one. The blinding ISO for Carolina Dean is phenomenal. This procs a lot. I mean, obviously it's a double random. It's random for this to apply, and then it's random for blinded to work, but it certainly does fire off a lot, and the migraine is migraine. So, this is a very good ISO. I like this one a lot. KD fans are probably going to want to get that. We have the Resistant one, resistance to damage over time effects for Groot. Solid, but if you are running Movie Groot, you're only going to have the one slot, and potentially Big and Fast is the way to go for that. This may only be good for Costume Groot, and so that you can double it up. And again, the weight of this ISO depends on whether or not you use Groot. Loaded, fully cocked, starts combat with 5 ammo cells. Again, if you are using Movie Coon, there is only one thing that he's going to be able to use, and that, of course, could be morale boost if you are running the generalist one, which is the safest one. So again, this one, much like the Groot one, is weighted on how much you plan to use rocket and which rocket you're going to use. And then there's knocking. Hawkeye gains a preemptive attack against targets with pinpoint. This one, considering there are agent weapons that do this and Taskmaster does it, this one may be worth a purchase, and one is one of the more solid ones in the bunch, and it's actually cheaper. So if you didn't get this, that is perhaps the way to go. We have a new simulator item that is sort of buried down here. I haven't seen mention of it yet, but then again, when we look at the description, you'll see why. There is the Hulk set. Security clearance requires full Spec Ops 26 task completion. And it looks like you get a bucket of command points, and I think it's only one task. Perhaps it is Hulk against Hulkbuster from Hulk's perspective. Perhaps it's Hulk against diabetes. Steroids, maybe? Hulk versus Vince McMahon? I don't know. So, I'm going to pop over to my team. Victor is training up to level 7, so he's getting there. Getting him going pretty fast. I have Kazar training. Victor has been fun. I was using him in the Infiltrator only daily yesterday and today until he dinged, so he's now training. That mechanical Mjolnir that I picked up, I just wanted to see if I can find that around here somewhere. It's probably going to be deep in. Basically, it's a very interesting hammer. It is tech. And it says something like, any attack that is not the mechanical Mjolnir gains a boost, and you can stack it up to 2 times. So, that could be really good to build up to a nice mega finish if you have an extremely powerful weapon. You can, you know, spend a round or 2 buffing up for the damage. So, there's... Oh, I already had one. Huh, I didn't know that. But apparently it gave it to me at a really low level, but the damage is still pretty high. So Might of Mjolnir increases damage and accuracy of the agent's next attack that does not use mechanical Mjolnir. Can be applied up to 2 times. So if you had the old tactician suit, you could do something in round 1, do this twice in round 2 with the suit, and then fire off some mega weapon in round 3. There's the Isosaur Whisperer. Still, total damage seems like it's a little bit higher. Alright, so while we're here, let's see if we can't go back to the spinner of the day and see if the what rewards are listed there now. So the spinner of the day. Alright, so we've got the 20 unstable ISO, the 20 command points, advanced encryption components. Removes and prevents downgrade. Use this for research. Kind of looks like a Chromecast. It's a Chromecast. Legion particle accelerator, which looks like the wave nullifier. Electric and tech, 1 enemy. The 4th item of the set. Crackle and ionize, taking additional damage from... Wow! So, radiation, which bumps up the energy damage. You now have ionize, which bumps up the radiation damage. Very, very interesting. Counters targets with radiation exposure. Ooh. Very interesting. So you use the other gun to set everybody up with radiation, and you can then have this set up for the pre-counter. And of course the 1000 and the 100 bucket. Let me show you guys a weapon that this could potentially work really well with. So I'm going to come off full screen again so that I can do the type ahead. It was a weapon that I believe is still farmable. I do not think it was Spec Ops. It is this, the gamma radiation emitter. All enemies, range, tech, and energy, so nothing will make this a quick action. It's not a buff or a debuff. Deals damage every turn, increases damage taken from energy attacks. Nearby energy attacks may apply radiation exposure. So, this will hit everybody with 1 stack And then energy attacks from anything else like Victor and, energy weapons, Havoc, all that kind of stuff may chain radiation exposure around. And then, of course, we have things like the nuclear fuel rod, which puts it out. And this actually puts out a 3-stack. So keep that in mind. And this is an energy weapon, so it essentially bumps its own damage up. The first hit will apply 3 stacks, and then when you do it again, your energy hit will be bumped up considerably by the 3 stacks. So there are some items that you may want to consider when doing gamma-related work over here. And I think that is kind of about it. I used to run that gamma gadget with something. Buff Tech and Energy. This would become a quick action with the Snappy Service because it's a buff. And of course, this could work really well if you are afraid of Victor. So, that's something to keep in mind. That is a quick action that is energy, and that could bounce some gamma radiation around a little bit. Could swear there was something I used to pair with that gamma gadget. Picked up a reforged one of these today, the Titanium RPG. Could be good with like Anti-Venom and Hank and the Isosaur Whisperer thing. Oh, I know what it was. It was in relation to the specimen scanners and everything. I think there was something I used to run. Yes, Tech Energy. Okay, this was it. I used to run the Gamma Gadget, and then in the next round, this was a quick action which applies its own stacks, but because it's energy, it had the chance to apply more stacks. So I used the Gamma Radiation Emitter with the specimen scanners. So that's something to consider. And of course, the hammers are also energy. Alright, so let's take a look at the suits and everything. Right now, there is some stuff for the Iron Man suit and the Hulk suit. So we'll go all the way to the beginning, and here is Hulk. And here is his Avengers Age of Ultron suit. So it is the Avengers sprite, which initially it didn't look like it was going to be. So here's the old Avengers Hulk. He came as a scrapper and a bruiser, and of course he gained Hulk up each round, cooperative defense, and coordinated attack. So now we have the Purple Pants version of him. He has a secret that he gains 2 Hulk up each round, and he gains Hulk up when he's attacked. Avengers Age of Ultron Avengers attacks cannot be interrupted as long as Hulk is present. So no, no haste counters and everything like that. And he also had a rework in his abilities. He doesn't build rage the way he normally does. He builds it passively and when he's attacked, but he drains it on his abilities. You consume a Hulk up to gain an extra action on his incredible Rage Punch. High crits. Monster Size Thunderclap. It consumes a Hulk up for an extra action. It hits all enemies as ranged and sonic. It causes staggered, which means it'll shut down the Hugin's Eye, and does pressure points. The indestructible Titanic Hurl does breakthrough wind-up on himself and weakly hits all enemies, and again consumes the Hulk up. Giant Size Hulk Smash consumes all remaining Hulk up. Catastrophic Deadly Crits exploits Paragon debuffs. So, potentially, if you start with 2, in round 1, you could do Monster Size Thunderclap to get out the pressure points to everybody. And then go ahead and Titanic Hurl. Then if he gets attacked, depending on how often he gets attacked, in round 2, you could probably knock somebody out with the Giant Size Hulk Smash. The issue is, running a Protect agent with this Hulk is not going to be good, because you're going to stop Hulk from getting attacked, and your charges are going to be really weak. My suggestion is right over here in Phoenix, who is due for a rework, and Mind Link your Hulk. That's going to be my opinion over there as to how to get attacks over to Hulk. There might be some agent gear that I think you can pick who you want to tank. I don't really recall, but Phoenix is the way that jumps off of the plate at me. Over here on Iron Man, we will go from his 42 armor to his 43 armor, and as you can see, it's pretty much the same, just like a slight palette swap. And his abilities are going to change. So his passives are the shield algorithm, chance for attacks to have 100% chance to hit and crit and gain true strike. Flying, pays the bills, grants boon busters to attacks for all allies featured in the Avengers Age of Ultron. So I'm pretty sure that's going to say like Thor, Captain America, Quicksilver, Scarlet, obviously all that kind of stuff. Power up. Increases power level by 10% every round. Much like Hulk, his abilities both build it up and consume. So you have the repulsor ray, which is locked on radiation exposure, ties into some of the set pieces, and he powers up by 20%. Digger missiles goes ground on this one, burning and open wounds, chance to apply ravaged and up to 3 applications of bleeding. And again, he powers up. High energy laser exploits the burning by doing combustible, and it melts armor. He powers up at 10%. And then we have Unibeam, which does nothing about power up, but of course stacks itself and is a shield breaker. My guess is somewhere along the line in combat you can then switch him over to the Hulkbuster suit, which we can't see here. You gain Iron Pummel, which consumes 10%. It causes staggered and exhausted. Repulsor Blast, which is a Unibeam focus, but it can be charged off of the previous Unibeam focus. Neutralize consumes 20% power. Deploy Rockets, which is a multifunction. It's a single and AoE version of the same thing. A new ability called Straining, which is basically a bleed for stamina. Losing stamina every round or after performing hostile action, so it's like bleeding. It lowers evasion, and it's a 30% power drain on both abilities. So my guess is something like the Experiment and this is going to keep people, they're not going to be able to act. If you use like Dr. Voodoo with his stamina drain, the Experiment, and Iron Man, they just literally would be huffing and puffing with no ability to do anything. And Iron Smash, which consumes 50%, and it exploits strain, and it has deadly crits. And of course he has his Bruiser and his Blaster. My advice is to leave him in his Blaster suit for the bonuses. However, we're not seeing any other new uniforms in any of the other characters. So if we look over here at Black Widow, still stock Black Widow. Captain Steve Rogers still ends in Steve Rogers, so nothing new for these guys yet, including Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver. Now, speaking of Captain Rogers and his friend Hawkeye, apparently they got a little bit busted for a comment in an interview where they were being interviewed and they were like, so, what do you think about Black Widow? We all thought maybe she'd wind up with you, but she wound up with, and I'm not going to spoil it, and Hawkeye, the actor playing Hawkeye, says, oh, she's a slut. Everybody apparently is outraged. Give me a break, guys. It's a joke. You can make the excuse that he was in character acting as Hawkeye and maybe being upset. And, what's a typical male defense to being dumped, especially for somebody else? She's a slut. Absolutely ridiculous to have such an extreme reaction to it. And honestly, Black Widow, Satana, they're known for being slutty characters anyway, so people just need to chill out. So there's Quicksilver, nothing new over there. And let's finish the video by looking at the gear. Chapter 1. We have some people on the leaderboard already. You have this very interesting weapon called the Panther Claw. It is stealthy, guaranteed crit, guaranteed hit, and really nice damage on that, and a high PvP bonus. This could be a tremendous, tremendous weapon right here. The ability to be stealthy on the agent, get around protectors. It has no melee component, so T-Bolt Glove doesn't get in there. We know Vibranium penetrates defenses. This will be a weapon I suggest people get. Over here, maybe that's Abomination, not really too sure yet. Hulk is the epic boss over here, but you're not going to be able to get to him until Task 25. And this is when the Hulkbuster versus Hulk comes in. You have this laser cutter looking item called the High Emitter. It hits all enemies, 2-round cooldown, it's tech and nothing else. It's subtle, it causes 60% downgrade to people, 60% chance of downgrade. And affected metal targets gain magnetized from it. And you gain rising up. So this is sort of like the Guardian badge of this suit. And over here, of course, we have Ultron, and there is an epic boss in this one also. The reward is the Hard Lock Energy Rifle. It's energy, it's tech, it has downgrade and pressure points, so this could really work nicely with Iron Man and also Hulk. Well, Iron Man wasn't really doing the pressure points, but Hulk was. And the epic boss is Ultimate Ultron, which has the chance to generate a class ability when hitting or hit by generalists. He reduces damage. He has a chance to cause pressure points to all attackers when attacked. Immune to obsolete tech, poison, bleeding, shred, stun, psychic. Very high crit resistance and takes reduced damage. So this guy might be really tough. And he has a chance to trigger class abilities when shared with other Ultron units. We have weak versions of gear over here, and it even states that it's weak. You do not receive Legionnaire set bonuses to the weapon, but you do grant Legionnaire bonuses to other items. We have radiation exposure to all enemies. We have disadvantage at 40% and ozone at 40%. Pretty decent top end damage. And then we have this thing over here, which is not a weakened version. 4-round cooldown. Starts cooldown. It's a tech summon. All enemies. Pretty high damage for an AoE. It exploits radiation. The Legionnaire set reduces the cooldown with other set pieces, and you gain exploit attrition and finest hour. So there's a lot of things that you could do around that. I mean, Enchantress could work with it. Heimdall buffing your agent could work with it. Or the ionic hammers with the fact that they're energy based and cause rising up. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with this. And of course, the final task is the Hulkbuster uniform. So there we go. There is a look at the Age of Ultron Spec Ops over here. And hope everybody enjoys this first little look at it over here. I'm going to go back over to my gifts, and I'm going to start doing my ISOs and start farming my people for ISOs. So, take care everybody. Coming up next on the channel, I'm going to do some Union Jack videos with his new ISO. And I got a lot of really interesting team-ups planned over there. And I'm telling you, I'm going to avoid Rocket Raccoon, because we all know that one, and that one's played out. So, take care folks.